Welcome back, everyone, to Undercover, Waterproofing and Underpinning Secrets. This is episode 16, brought to you, as always, by DGI Waterproofing.
Good to be back.
So if you're anywhere in the GTA this past year, the biggest worry for your home probably isn't the mortgage rates anymore. It's water.
And not just a little leak.
Yeah.
We're talking about, potential disaster.
Yeah.
Serious flooding.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this a bit. We've seen, well, frankly, a scary increase in extreme weather. The news has been relentless. Yeah. That July 2024 flash flood, nearly $1 billion in insured damage just from that one event.
It's staggering.
And that pushes 2024 into the record books nationally, most destructive year ever for insured losses in Canada, over $9 billion.
Yeah. And look, as waterproofing experts, our focus here at DGI has really sharpened. We can't stop the rain, obviously, but we can absolutely help you control the impact, prevent the damage. So our mission today isn't to scare you. It's to move past that. We want to pinpoint where the highest risks are, geographically speaking. Then really dig into why this is happening, the system issues. And finally, cover the DGI solutions that, help you prepare effectively.
Knowledge is power, as they say, especially when your basement's on the line.
Definitely.
So that leads us right to it. Is your neighborhood on the high-risk list? Because the risk, it's definitely not spread evenly across the GTA, is it?
No, not at all. When we look at the actual flood risk scores, you see vulnerability is this nasty mix of geography, sometimes older city planning, and just the sheer amount of paved over surfaces.
Let's start with one that might catch some people off guard, Ajax.
Right, Ajax. It actually comes out on top, highest risk in the GTA, scoring a 4.6 out of 5. That's pretty concerning.
Wow, why so high there?
Well, it's not just being near Lake Ontario, though that's part of it. It's more about the large areas of low-lying land, particularly near Duffins Creek. And there's been a lot of development over areas that were historically floodplains.
Ah, okay.
So when you get that massive rainfall, the water just... It doesn't have anywhere else to go. It backs up, spreads out.
And right behind Ajax, you have the bigger urban centers, naturally.
Yeah, exactly. Mississauga is next, 4.4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Especially areas close to the lake and down in the Credit River Valley.
And they got hit hard in July 24.
Extremely hard. They recorded, 98 millimeters of rain in just a few hours. I mean, that kind of volume just overwhelms standard drainage immediately. When that system fails, homes flood. Simple as that.
Then there's Toronto itself, scoring 4.3 out of 5. Here, the big challenge is density meeting old pipes, essentially.
Toronto is the classic case study in infrastructure not keeping pace. You're trying to force these, 21st century superstorms through pipes designed maybe 50, 75, even 100 years ago.
And we all saw the result, the Don Valley Parkway becoming a river during that July storm.
That image, yeah, it says it all. The city's main arteries for cars and water, they just get choked. They can't handle it.
We should probably quickly mention a few other vulnerable spots, too.
Definitely need to flag Brampton. Also 4.3 out of 5. They tend to get really rapid, dangerous flash floods. A lot of the city is near creeks and floodplains, so the water comes up fast and moves fast.
Okay.
Then you've got Vaughan, particularly Woodbridge and Maple. They're at 4.2 out of 5. Very vulnerable because they're right near the Humber River and its tributaries, which swell really quickly.
Okay.
And finally, don't overlook the lakeshore communities like Oakville and Burlington. When Lake Ontario levels rise during big storms, it just makes local drainage problems even worse. Water backs up from both directions.
So that covers where the specific risk zones our clients are dealing with every day. Now let's get into the why. It's not just heavy rain causing basements to flood. It's bigger systems failing.
Yeah, if you want to understand the root causes, there are basically 3 big things kind of colliding right now, and they're making each other worse.
Let's start with the unavoidable one. Climate change.
It's really the engine driving this whole, it's basic physics, right? For every degree Celsius the air warms up, it can hold about 7% more moisture.
Okay.
So when that moisture does fall, it tends to come down in these incredibly intense short bursts. We're seeing historical patterns just thrown out the window. Projections show that what used to be called a 100-year storm, statistically speaking, by the end of this century, that could be happening every 5 years, maybe even more often.
Yeah.
We're already seeing rainfall rates hitting 50, even 80 millimeters per hour in those big 2024 storms.
50 to 80 millimeters an hour. I mean, no standard drain can handle that kind of volume. Which brings us straight to your second point, aging infrastructure.
Exactly. Toronto's older neighborhoods are particularly exposed here. Their stormwater systems, they were designed for a completely different climate. decades ago. The pipes often aren't deep enough, they're not wide enough for these modern deluges.
And the frankly disgusting result of that failure was the sewage discharge we saw.
That stat from the July 2024 storm is just what's shocking. The system got so overwhelmed that 3 of Toronto's water treatment plants had to release 1.3 billion liters of partially treated sewage straight into Lake Ontario.
Hold on. 1.3 billion liters of
Yeah.
stuff. Is that because the neighborhood pipes are too small or the treatment plants themselves couldn't process the flow?
It's often both working together, but fundamentally it's a system design issue. A lot of older parts of the city have combined sewers.
Meaning sewage and rainwater in the same pipe.
Correct. So when you get intense rain, it quickly fills up those pipes way beyond capacity. The only way the system can relieve that pressure is to overflow directly into the lake or rivers. The treatment plants physically cannot process that sudden massive volume fast enough.
Wow. Okay, which leads to the third piece of the puzzle, urbanization, the concrete conundrum, as you sometimes call it.
Yeah. Every single time we replace something natural, a lawn, a park, a field, anything that can soak up water with something hard like concrete or asphalt or even just a rooftop.
Right, impervious surfaces.
Exactly. We dramatically increase the amount of water runoff. Instead of soaking in, that water hits the hard surface and just rushes towards the nearest low point. That overwhelms the storm drains on the street, and eventually it puts immense pressure on basement foundations. All this paving just accelerates the urban flooding that pushes risk scores up in places like Ajax and Mississauga.
Okay, so that's the diagnosis. Climate change, old pipes, too much pavement. Now let's shift to the cure. This is where we at DGI really come in.
Right. And it's important to frame this correctly. Flood protection isn't just an expense, it's actually a smart investment. The data backs this up.
What does it show?
Studies show that every single dollar you invest in climate adaptation, like waterproofing or proper drainage, actually yields somewhere between $3 and $8 in avoided costs over about a 10-year period.
$3 to $8 back for every dollar spent.
Right. Prevention is just so much cheaper and, frankly, way less stressful than dealing with a flooded basement and insurance claims.
Makes sense. So if you know you're in one of those high-risk zones we talked about.
Waiting is just, well, it's financially risky.
Yeah.
So we look at your defense strategy as having 3 essential pillars. Non-negotiables, really.
Okay. Pillar number 1, basement waterproofing and foundation integrity.
This is literally the foundation of your defense.
Yeah.
Especially for older homes in the GTA, maybe with stone or block foundations. Seepage is almost a guarantee at some point.
Right.
So we have 2 main approaches here at DGI, and the best choice really depends on your specific house and its vulnerabilities.
Okay, so what's the difference between interior and exterior waterproofing? Walk us through that.
Sure. Exterior waterproofing is the most complete fix. It means we excavate all the way around the outside of your house, right down to the bottom of the foundation wall.
Okay, that sounds like a big job.
It is. It's significant.
Yeah.
But it lets us expose the wall, repair any cracks properly, then apply a waterproof membrane, like a heavy-duty rubber sheet, essentially, a true physical barrier. Plus, we install new drainage tile at the base to carry water away.
And the cost for that, you mentioned a range earlier.
Yeah, it typically runs somewhere between, say, $90 and $280 per linear foot.
That's a huge range. Why the big difference in price?
Good question. It really comes down to the specifics of your property. How deep do we need to dig? What kind of soil are we dealing with? Is it rocky, heavy clay, or easier sandy soil? That affects excavation time and effort.
Right.
Also, the complexity of the foundation itself. Lots of corners, steps, things like that add time. In contrast, interior waterproofing is less disruptive. We're basically managing water after it gets through the wall, but before it ruins your basement.
How does that work?
We install drainage channels around the inside perimeter of the basement floor, channeling any seepage toward the sump pump. It's usually in the range of $79 to $205 per linear foot, and it's a great option for handling persistent dampness or minor seepage without that huge exterior dig.
Okay, that makes sense. Pillar 2 then, the mechanical systems. Sump pumps and backwater valves. You called these the subsidized heroes?
Yeah. A sump pump is your workhorse. It sits in a pit in your basement floor and actively pumps out groundwater that collects around your foundation. But, and this is crucial, a DGI standard, it must have a battery backup.
Why is the backup so important?
Because big storms often knock out the power. And a sump pump without power during a deluge is completely useless. The battery backup ensures it keeps working when you need it most.
Got it. And the backwater valve. That protects against the sewage backup problem we discussed earlier.
Absolutely. Think of the backwater valve as a one-way gate on your main sewer line leaving the house. It detects if the city sewer system is backing up like during a heavy storm, and it automatically closes, physically stopping that sewage from flowing back into your basement drains.
That sounds essential.
It is. But there's a key thing you need to know. When that valve is closed, you cannot use your plumbing. Don't flush toilets, don't run showers or sinks. Because the drain is blocked off, anything you send down will just back up inside your own house.
Right, okay, good tip. And the big news here is the potential financial help through the City of Toronto's Basement Flooding Protection Program.
Yes, this is a potential game changer for many homeowners. Right now, you can apply for subsidies up to $3,400 per property to help cover the cost of installing sump pumps and backwater valves.
Well, that might go up.
There are proposals to increase that cap significantly, maybe up to $6,650. But here's the absolute key point. To get that money, you must use a contractor who is licensed by the City of Toronto, like us at DGI.
Why is that?
The city needs to ensure the work is done correctly, to specific standards. It's about quality control and making sure these systems actually work when needed. We handle all the paperwork to make sure you qualify and meet the requirements.
Okay, good to know. And the final pillar, Pillar 3, drainage and grading, the sort of environmental managers.
Yeah, you could call them that. These are often simpler things, but they make a huge difference. Proper grading means making sure the ground around your house slopes away from the foundation, not towards it. Seems basic, but it's vital.
And for tougher spots.
For yards with really poor drainage, we often recommend installing French drains. This is basically a trench filled with gravel containing a perforated pipe. It sits just below the surface and does a fantastic job collecting excess surface water or even shallow groundwater and channeling it safely away from your foundation before it builds up pressure.
Makes sense.
And simple maintenance helps too. Keep your gutters clean, make sure downspouts direct water well away from the house, and test your sump pump every few months. Little things add up.
Okay, so we've covered prevention thoroughly. But let's face it, these storms can be overwhelming. Sometimes, despite your best efforts, flooding happens. If water is rising fast in your basement, what's the absolute immediate action plan?
First and foremost, safety. If you see water getting near electrical outlets, your breaker panel, any appliances, or if you see sparks or smell electrical burning, get out. Don't walk through the water. Just leave immediately.
Okay, safety first. Then what?
If, and only if, it's safe to access them without going through deep water, try to shut off your main utilities. That means the main electrical breaker, your natural gas supply if you have it, and the main water valve coming into the house. This can prevent fires, electrocution, or further contamination.
Once you're safe, what's next? Thinking about insurance, maybe?
Documentation. As soon as it's safe, take pictures, take videos, capture everything. Don't wait for the water to go down or start cleaning up first. You need proof of the extent of the damage as it's happening for your insurance claim. Speed is critical here.
And then presumably call for help.
Yes. Call us at DGI Waterproofing for emergency water damage cleanup. We do more than just basement waterproofing. We handle the aftermath, too. We have the pumps to get the water out, the industrial dryers and dehumidifiers to dry everything thoroughly, and crucially, we act fast to prevent mold.
How quickly does mold become a problem?
Terrifyingly fast. Mold can start growing in damp conditions within just 24 to 48 hours. If the drying isn't done quickly and properly, you're looking at a separate major mold remediation job, which is expensive and a health hazard.
Okay, so act fast on all fronts. Safety, documentation, professional help.
Exactly.
So we've covered a lot. We've mapped the high-risk areas like Ajax and Mississauga. We've dug into the why, that perfect storm of climate change, old infrastructure, and urbanization. And we've laid out the solutions, many of which DGI offers and that even have subsidies available. What's the final thought you want people to take away from this deep dive?
It really comes back to that economic point we touched on earlier. Investing in prevention isn't just about avoiding damage, it's financially smarter. Remember, up to $8 saved for every $1 invested now. But honestly, beyond the dollars and cents, it's about peace of mind. Knowing your home, your biggest asset, is properly protected. You can't put a price on that feeling.
And there was one final kind of sobering detail about insurance that really drives home the need for physical protection.
Yes. And this is critical for everyone listening to understand. Your standard home insurance policy often does not cover overland flooding. That's water flowing over the ground and into your home from heavy rain or river overflow.
So relying just on insurance is a big risk.
It's a huge gamble, especially if you live in Ajax, Mississauga, Brampton, or those vulnerable parts of Toronto. Physical protection, the exterior or interior waterproofing, the sump pumps, the backwater valves, the proper drainage that we install. That is the only guaranteed way to safeguard your home and your belongings from this specific growing threat.
The message seems clear. Don't wait for the next flood warning. Don't wait until you're calling us for emergency cleanup instead of prevention. Start planning your flood defense today. Reach out to us at DGI Waterproofing. We can talk about your specific risk, the subsidy options, and design a protection plan that makes sense for your home.
You can reach us directly at 647-483-2455. That's 647-483-2455. Stay dry, stay safe out there, and stay informed.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll catch you on the next Deep Dive from Undercover.